Tonight on KGW News, new video of what went wrong just before a UPS jumbo jet crashed into a ball of flames.
And at PDX, uncertainty for travelers as the FAA plans to cancel flights amid the government shutdown.
It's too bad that it's happening so close to the holidays.
Plus, tides approaching 10 feet, already creating dangerous conditions on the coast.
A lot of people just don't know the true power of Mother Nature.
Then, what fell on this family's car on I-5 that has them warning other drivers.
The good thing is we were on our way back from church and something was watching over us.
And later, with food budgets stretched thin, an artist's creative idea to keep people and pets fed.
Any chance I get to give back in a graceful way or a creative way feels really important.
First tonight, an extraordinary move that could majorly disrupt air travel across this country. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. The FAA announcing a 10% cut in flights. We are talking thousands altogether across dozens of cities, and as soon as Friday. That's to account for staffing shortages as the government shutdown stretches into a second month. Alma McCarty went to PDX to take the pulse of travelers.
At PDX Wednesday night, we saw on-time departures and really little to no lines, just smooth sailing through the airport. But come Friday, there could be possible disruptions here and across the country. Hectic travel hubs on the horizon.
This whole thing is just it's a little worrisome because we're trying to get business done like everyone else.
Another ripple effect from the ongoing government shutdown.
I mean, it's just going to disrupt a lot.
A lot of flights likely to be canceled as the FAA reduces air traffic by 10% across 40 high-volume markets.
We are concerned about that, but we had to have a gut check of what is our job. Is it to make sure there's, minimal delays or minimal cancellations, or is our job to make sure we make the hard decisions to continue to keep the airspace safe?
This call comes as air traffic controllers, the majority of whom work 6 days mandatory overtime per week and unpaid over the last month, have dealt with staffing shortages, some calling out, leading to flight delays. Some travelers at PDX can understand why.
And I would have to say that if I were employed as either of those, I probably wouldn't have a job because I probably wouldn't show up, because if I haven't been able to feed my family for over a month, then I need to find a job that I can work.
If I was an air traffic controller right now and I hadn't been paid in a month, I'd probably be looking for something else to do as well.
It's not clear yet if PDX will be among the airports directly impacted by the reduction. Airlines like Alaska are calling for an end to the shutdown and report they're in talks with the FAA and are awaiting further guidance. Folks at the airport awaiting that guidance as well.
We just landed in Portland and we're supposed to leave Saturday. So are we going to get out of here? I don't know.
We're expecting that list of the 40 high-volume markets from the FAA at some point Thursday. In Northeast Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
By the way, there's still no word of a deal tonight to end the shutdown, and Democratic leaders in Congress are calling on President Trump to negotiate with them to find a way to reopen the government. Meanwhile, the president met with Republicans at the White House this morning and said the shutdown was partially to blame for yesterday's poor election showing for the GOP. But the president also insisted that, meaning the shutdown, is the Democrats' fault, and they're not getting enough of the blame. We'll keep you posted here. All right, let's take a live look over downtown Portland now as a stormy Wednesday. We're talking heavy rain and gusty winds finally begins to wind down. Chief Meteorologist Matt Spanos here. Matt, sounds like we're through the worst of it.
We are. There's still plenty of showers out there right now and for tomorrow too, but the strong winds of earlier today have settled down quite a bit, and the rain won't be quite as heavy or as persistent. You see our camera at the Springs at the waterfront. Raindrops on the lens, 55 degrees, but the winds have really backed up. Boy, they were strong earlier in the day, especially the coast. We would guess to 68 miles an hour. We also had a brief tornado warning in Pacific County around 5 o'clock. That was just detected on radar. Never saw a tornado hit the ground, but nonetheless, lots of lightning strikes earlier in the day. Right now, we've got this line of heavy showers exiting the metro area, the downtown area, just about to head east of I-205 here. So a little bit of break out there. There have been breaks in the clouds. You might have caught a glimpse of that full beaver supermoon up there in the sky. So here's what's ahead. Showers will continue on and off overnight. Showers and some breaks tomorrow, and it'll get a little bit blustery in the afternoon, but only for an hour or so. Showers finally end on Friday, and then we begin a dry stretch this weekend that should continue for several days. Now, out of the coast, The swells are all running in the teens, 15, 16 feet or so. They come on shore, we can get even bigger breakers. So we got a high surf advisory there. Also, the high tide overnight about 8 feet, but tomorrow afternoon it's a 10-foot tide. That's about 3 feet higher than a normal tide. So anytime you get a double-digit tide, big tides, and that's why we have coastal flood advisories, the potential for tidal overflows. We get some water coming in from the beach. David?
I appreciate it, Matt. Speaking of the coast, officials are warning people not to let their guard down with king tides over the next few days at Tolovana State Park and Cannon Beach. Firefighters were out telling people not to get too close to the surf or to turn their back on the ocean.
It's not so much the surf that we're worried about on the outside. It's that when we get the big surf or the swell that's coupled with the king tides, those sneaker waves will surge all the way up.
You can expect the strongest waves through the weekend with the next round of king tides coming in December. In an update this evening, investigators have recovered critical clues into what went wrong when a UPS jumbo jet went down yesterday evening in Louisville. A warning, while surveillance video is proving key in this investigation, these images are difficult to watch. They include new dashcam video that recorded the MD-11 up close just before the crash. So take a look. The aircraft is extremely low to the ground. You'll see it here in just a moment, just seconds after takeoff. There it is, flames coming out of the left side before it hits the ground. Now, right after that, people come running out of a nearby tire shop. Tom Costello has more.
Tonight, NTSB investigators are looking closely at the tremendous amounts of video and photographic evidence of the final moments of UPS Flight 2976.
Believes to be a plane crash, huge fire and smoke.
This video already proving to be critical evidence, appearing to show the plane's left wing or engine already on fire as the MD-11 barreled down the runway on its takeoff roll. Investigators say the cargo jet, fully loaded with fuel, managed to clear the fence at the end of the runway, but quickly banked to the right and slammed to the ground, hitting several businesses, including an auto parts company with employees and customers inside.
There was literally fire and flames around them, and they got out safely. We had other employees that escaped out through back window.
The massive explosion sent flames, debris, and giant clouds of black smoke into the air. The debris field spread over half a mile.
What this scene is violent. Where the plane hit, at best, is destroyed. What you see are mangled remnants of what was in its path.
Investigators have already recovered the plane's left engine found between two runways. Airport CCTV captured the moment that engine came off the wing. NTSB board member Todd Inman.
It gives us a much better picture of what was happening before you start to see the fire and before the detachment actually occurs.
Investigators have also found the plane's cockpit voice and flight data recorders, the black boxes, in the smoldering wreckage.
While the fire may have been intense, it is built to withstand that.
Tom Costello reporting they are tough to watch tonight. 12 people are dead, including the 3 on board and a child who was on the ground. The Louisville airport is now partially reopened as the NTSB investigation continues. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Starting in Hillsborough, where authorities say 2 men were found dead this morning inside a home. Neighbors telling us they heard what sounded like gunshots and saw a SWAT team show up at a house near Northeast 17th and Sunrise Lane.
Oh, they went into the house and they were escorting a young girl and maybe a couple of kids down to the end of the street.
Hillsborough police are asking anyone with information to please reach out. Well, 3 people have now been arrested in connection with a deadly shooting last week in a Vancouver apartment complex. 40-year-old Jacob Hall was killed in the parking lot of the Alderbrook Apartments. Police now say the suspects planned to steal Hall's Dodge Challenger Hellcat and shot him in the process. Tyrese Hammer, Christian Russell, and Lucy Montoya, all in their 20s, are now in custody and awaiting extradition to Clark County to face murder charges. In Portland, police have arrested 3 people in connection with a major copper theft ring, one they say caused more than $2 million in damage. Officers say they found stolen copper being burned and stripped on a property on Northeast Skidmore. They say the thieves cut communication lines to steal the copper, disrupting landlines and emergency services across Portland's east side.
This is critical infrastructure. It is super important that these things continue to function properly. It can represent a safety and sometimes a life safety issue when they're not functioning or when they're when they're tampered with and damaged.
2 of the suspects are facing multiple felony charges. A third was cited and released. And Gresham police have arrested the man they say pulled a weapon on a family in a Taco Bell drive-thru on Halloween. Thanks to tips, authorities identifying him as David Mead Sr. Police now say he didn't actually pull a gun, but what they're calling an air-powered self-defense device that looked like a gun. Mead is accused of pointing it at a car with a child inside when he was trying to cut the drive-thru line. Well, this evening, a Portland City Councilor is trying a new tactic when it comes to the ICE building on the South Waterfront and any similar facilities that may open in the future. Councilor Angelita Murillo wants to make landlords of detention facilities pay a fee if they disrupt the neighborhood. The city will decide the fee amount based on the impact. The councilor cited the tear gas and pepper spray used by federal agents at the ICE building in South Portland as an example.
This will mitigate some harm because if you are a landlord that's choosing to profit off of the expansion of detention facilities, then you are creating a unique harm in the community that has to be addressed.
It appears this fee would only apply to new landlord contracts, not those that currently exist. It also would not apply to government-owned buildings, and the money collected would go toward cleanup efforts, police overtime, even businesses helping residents and businesses relocate. You can watch our full report, including reaction from those who've been protesting at the ICE building, in tonight's episode of The Story with Blair Best that's available right now on our free TV streaming app, KGW+.